not a better person to talk some Giants and Eagles. Shaun OHara, NFL Network Analyst. You can see him tonight. NFL Playbook at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday Night Football continues this week. As we mentioned, the Eagles and the Giants on Fox, NFL Network, Amazon Prime Video. Shaun, kind enough to join us for a couple minutes on a Wednesday on the Boardwalk Honda Highline. Shaun, how you been, bud?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. We're doing well. We appreciate it as always. And, it's funny. It's you got chaos going on up the turnpike with the Giants, which we'll get into in a second. And then it's teetering between concern and panic right now with the Philadelphia Eagles at 2-3. Offensive line issues, secondary issues. We don't see that hunger thus far in 5 games. You lose Ajayi. Carson Wentz has taken too many hits. When you look at this team 5 games through the NFL season, what are you seeing with the Eagles right now, and what has attributed to their struggles?
Well, there's a number of factors. Obviously, Carson Wentz, being hurt and not starting the season definitely changes things. And then when he comes back, it's hard to really expect him to just come back from a catastrophic injury like that and just jump right into the saddle. So I think we've seen him, the game kind of has seemed like it's a little too fast for him. He's trying to slow the game down mentally, and, we've seen him take a number of sacks, which I thought last year the Eagles did a great job protecting him. The offensive line played really well, and he was able to hang in the pocket and make some big-time throws. We just haven't seen that. I think he's been sacked 12 times in the last 3 games. So that's a little bit different for the Eagles. I think the run game has struggled. You mentioned injury to Ajayi. They've definitely missed the presence of LeGarrette Blount.
Agreed.
But they haven't finished drives. Last year they were the best red zone offense, and a lot of it was, Carson Wentz to Zach Ertz. They found a way to kind of make some plays. That they had a great little relationship there. It was almost like 2-on-2 out there sometimes with those guys, and I think they just have yet to get back to that form. So I'm not panicking on the Eagles at all. I think it's tough when you go and win a Super Bowl, and now to come back and to get charged up for another season. Sometimes, it's a little tough, and the fact that Carson Wentz wasn't ready to go, I'm sure took a little bit of wind out of their sails. But it's a physical grind, and now they're getting everybody's best. Everybody wants to knock off the defending champs, and I think that's something that we're kind of seeing come to fruition right before our eyes.
All right, so you're not concerned, you're not in panic mode, right? Objectively, I take a step back and I say if they lose tomorrow night against the Giants, you had an opportunity to bury your rival, first of all. And you're starting to see some things manifest itself with the secondary and Mills with the issues and the miscues, and they're not getting the turnovers like last year. Everything you basically just talked about. I can see this going into a tailspin. I really can. Look, you know this. You won a Super Bowl. You know how hard it is to get back, and a lot of things, a lot of variables can happen, and you can attribute a lot of things happening for the follow-up season where you don't even get to the playoffs. I can start to see this kind of snowball now because you've got a couple players. I don't want to say they're griping. You got Doug. I look at Doug right now. Where's the aggressiveness? Sometimes some of these calls, there's no run to pass balance. The things that they were doing so well last year through 5, I'm just not seeing it. And everyone thought going into the season, they're better this year than they were last year on paper. And I think if they lose tomorrow night, this can snowball now. And they can be a team that can be one and done and not even make the playoffs.
I mean, there's definitely concern. I think to your point, look, if the Eagles lose tomorrow night, they will be, regardless of what happens with Washington and Dallas, they will be in last place in the division. They'll have 4 losses, and they will have 0 divisional wins. So even if Washington and Dallas lose, they will find themselves in last place. And no doubt about it, people are going to be concerned. They're going to be questioning everything about it. The good news is this division is on fire right now. I mean, it's a hot mess right now.
Yeah,
so
it is.
That's the silver lining in all this. If I could go Bradley Cooper, the silver lining playbook right now. It's that everybody sucks right now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah they do.
They still. I mean, when you look at it realistically right now, who knows? 7 wins could win this division.
Crazy.
Or 8 wins. The Eagles can get to that. So it's not how you draw it up. It's not ideal. This Eagles team, the one thing that everybody's fallen victim to, it's not just the team, it's the fans as well. Everybody looks at it and says, man, they were so good last year, and that's what we want to see. The expectation is so high.
Yep.
Defending Super Bowl champs. Listen, this year's success is never predicated on what you did last year.
Correct.
And you can never carry that over. And I think that's, as much as fans know about football and as players, we've done this for so long, you still fall victim to that. Everybody wants, hey, well, we were so good at this area last year, we should be good at that again, and we should be better in the other areas. That's not how it works. For the Eagles right now, what they're finding out is, man, it's hard to score points. Last year was easy. Last year, in the first quarter, they outscored everybody.
A dominating team, stepping on their throat.
Second quarter, it was, hey, we got the lead. Everything's working. First down runs. We got big explosive runs. They led the league in runs over 10 yards last year, so they were balanced. That's not happening. So points are coming at a premium now, and I don't care how good you play on defense. In this NFL, if you can't score points, you can't win games, and that's what they're finding out right now. And the end zone is kind of like the abyss right now. They just they can't seem to get to punch it in. And I think until they figure that out, until they find a way, I think the most they've scored this year is 23 points. You kind of look down at what they've done. Even against Atlanta, they won with 18 points. You're rarely going to do that. They scored 21 against Tampa Bay. They scored 20 against the Colts. They scored 23 against Tennessee and 21 against Minnesota. That's different. Last year, at this point, they were averaging 30-plus a game.
I've been chomping on the bit, waiting to get you on this week because I wanted to get your thoughts on the Giants. And, listen, the Flowers move was overdue. We understand that. But you get the Beckham nonsense. You get the Beckham interview. I don't want to hear – I just don't want to hear from people that this and I'll disagree if you say it too, that this can possibly galvanize a team. I think there's enough pride in that locker room where you have a player that undermines the franchise, the head coach, the two-time Super Bowl MVP, and arguably a Hall of Famer. The optics are bad. It's a bad look. Now, you can sit there and say, well, what did he really say that was disturbing? I just thought the platform and the air to dirty laundry, it wasn't needed. And I heard me, I. He signed a contract. If he don't want to sign the contract, force a trade, and then get the hell out of here. And you can go to Los Angeles with the Sun and have all that kind of fun. But I don't like the behavior, and I think it undermines what they're trying to build. And he was quiet, and he rehabbed, and he was mature, and he got paid, and all of a sudden, boom, then the antics come. And they still showed fight in that game and still lost on a 63-yard field goal. So I'm just curious, where do you stand on the whole the Beckham situation and how Shermer handled it, and right now the state of the Giants?
Well, I don't disagree with any of the points that you brought up and what you said. I think it was reckless. My biggest question, really, and if I'm Pat Shermer and I sit down with Odell, my first question is, does anything that you have done help us win? Does sitting down and doing that interview, does that help us win?
Nope.
And all I would want to know is, Odell, look, stop giving the I'm passionate about the game. I want to win. Like you mentioned, he went on record and said, I'm not going to play another preseason snap. I want a new contract. I want to be the highest paid player in the league. All of those things were selfish answers. I want to hear him talk about the team, and I want him to put the team first. Now, look, that may be too much to ask, and you know what? Then just act. Act as if.
But are they afraid of him, though? How do you handle that, Shaun? If that's your locker room when you guys are playing with the leaders that you had years ago, I would venture to guess someone's pulling him to the side and saying, what the hell are you doing?
Well, I don't know that anybody's doing that. The tough thing with a guy like Odell Beckham is, he's kind of like the hot girl with bad breath. It's like, look, let's just give her some gum. I'm not going to let that ruin the relationship. We'll go. We'll schedule some teeth cleanings. We'll go to the dentist together. We'll find a way to get rid of the halitosis. But
you got to stop.
That's what the Giants are dealt with right now. Look,
you deal with it, is what you're saying. You tolerate it.
There are things you can tolerate. Now, I don't understand what Odell was thinking with that. The interview was, but to be honest with you, that's off the field. If you want to go out and do an interview, guess what? Now you better show up. And he dropped a pass on 4th and 3.
Yep.
Touchdown
pass.
Him right in the hands. You want to be the highest paid receiver in the league. You want to go and sit down with Lil Wayne, and you want to be this icon and this superstar. You better make those plays. The throw in the end zone should have been a touchdown. It was a good play by the defender, but you know what? I expect you to come down with that football. If Eli throws and delivers a pass, you better come down with it. That's what I expect from him. So, I don't buy the whole, well, maybe it galvanized the team. Guess what? That interview aired.
Exactly. Come on. They're not sitting in front of the TV watching it.
Yeah, I think the disappointment is with all this talent, with what's going on, the Giants still, their number one problem is still that the offensive line.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's, they've had injuries. You mentioned the Eric Flowers thing. Just looking at the turnover in that room, Chad Wheeler is the longest tenured Giant in that offensive line room.
That's not saying much.
And he's been there for less than 2 years. I mean, he was an undrafted guy, undrafted rookie last year. So there's just been way too much turnover in that room, and it's taken him a long time to build that chemistry.
All right, 30 seconds, a couple quickies on each of these. How about Garrett electing to punt the other night, 4th and 1 on the 42 of the Texans, not going for it?
Yeah, I'm sure he would. If he had it to do over again, he would probably run the football. I mean, when you have some of the best offensive linemen in the league, when you've got Zeke Elliott, I think as a coach, if I give my team a chance to stomp on it and go for the win, let's do it. Let's play aggressive. And you know what? If you want to say that I should have punted, fine. You know what? But I think it was a missed opportunity. You look around the league, you look at what Doug Peterson has done on 4th down. Look what he did in the Super Bowl. Sean McVay for the Rams is going for it on 4th and 1 on his own side of the field. That's kind of where the league is going. I mean, by no means do I think that he should be fired because of it. I think, look, in the game, in the heat of the moment, their defense was playing good. I think it was, it was a 50-50 choice. It didn't work out. And you know what? Coaches all the time draw up great plays and make great decisions, but if you don't execute it, and as a player, you make them look bad.
And lastly, how about your thoughts on some of these rookie quarterbacks? I mean, they had great weekends. You almost get the sense, I can't wait to see what happens at year number 2, because we always see the growth and the progressions from year number 1 to year number 2. But what's your take on the quarterbacks in closing?
Well, what's funny to me is how, people kind of say that, wow, how about these quarterbacks? These rookie quarterbacks, 3 of these damn quarterbacks won football games, and they only completed 10 passes.
I know. Well, Darnold, what was it? 10 of 20 for about 203 touchdowns, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's comical almost when I see some of that stuff because, I think, okay, the quarterbacks get way too much credit when they win. Look, Baker Mayfield, I thought he was phenomenal, and I think he's been every bit as advertised. He threw for 342 yards, almost as many yards as all the other 3 combined. And I think when you look at, if they take care of the football, it makes it a lot easier to win football games. That's what we're seeing. I'm impressed with Sam Darnold's poise. Josh Allen doesn't have a great supporting cast, but I think Josh Rosen really showed everybody that, man, he can throw the football, and he's got a great football mind.
All right, don't forget Shaun O'Hara, NFL Network analyst. You can see him tonight on NFL Playbook, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday Night Football continues this week. Eagles and the Giants on Fox, NFL Network, Amazon Prime Video. I'm not even going to ask you about Rutgers. Can I steal the hot girlfriend with the bad breath line?
Go for it.
Shaun, you're the best. I appreciate it, pal.
All right, thanks, man.